Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders has won 8 of the last 9 presidential primary and caucus contests, but he still trails Hillary Clinton by a large margin of pledged delegates.
Sanders made his first stop in Syracuse yesterday, and our own Mike Carter was at the On Center for the rally. Mike?
That's right, Max. I had a chance to go down to the On Center yesterday and check out the Senator Bernie Sanders, who's gone from relative obscurity to 2016's political rock star. And now he still trails Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton by 12 points here in New York. But with just 6 days remaining until New Yorkers go to the polls, the biggest hurdle for Bernie Sanders may just be running out of time.
Over 100 Bernie Sanders supporters came out to support the Vermont senator during a march in downtown Syracuse. For some supporters we spoke to, Sanders' appeal has more to do with social justice than with socialism.
It's the first, really the first candidate in my lifetime, and I'm, 33 years old, that I've felt like has had a really hard, serious commitment to social justice.
And while Sanders has owned the more liberal wing of the Democratic Party this election season, just last week, the New York Daily News skewered Sanders for his support of gun manufacturers following the tragedy at Newtown.
Most of the guns that are used in crimes and violence and killings in New York come from out of state. And the state that has the highest per capita number of those guns that end up committing crimes in New York come from Vermont.
So with Sanders trailing Clinton by 12 points in New York with a week to go before the primary, his campaign stopped in Syracuse on Tuesday, making one final push for some much-needed votes.
Next Tuesday, let us come out in large numbers.
With many SU students in the crowd, Sanders made sure to make his final pitch to his primary demographic.
And we have got to deal with the crisis of millions of people struggling with outrageous levels of student debt. Anybody here with student debt?
And while Sanders has never had an issue drawing large crowds at campaign stops, there is some concern among party insiders about whether many of his supporters will even be able to vote in Tuesday's primary.
Now keep in mind, New York is a closed primary, meaning if you did not register as a Democrat last October, you cannot vote in next Tuesday's election.
The Sanders camp has been consistent in its belief throughout the primary and caucus states that Sanders does best when voter turnout is high.
Let us have the highest voter turnout in Democratic primary history.
And one of the biggest hurdles for Bernie Sanders next Tuesday may just be that fact that New York is a closed primary, meaning if you are hoping to vote in the Democratic primary, if you did not register as a Democrat again last October, you will not be able to vote on Tuesday. And that can hurt Senator Sanders much more than Clinton's campaign, which kind of had the foresight, having already run a presidential election previous to this. One quick last poll to tell you guys about. An Emerson College poll tells us that Sanders has cut into Hillary Clinton's lead by over 30 points just in the last month. So keep in mind, 6 days left until New Yorkers go to the polls. Back to you guys.